Can y'all hear me? I'm just testing this. Let me know if you can hear me. I know I'm a tad bit early, but I'm not the best at technical support, so I just want to make sure that I have everyone, or that everyone can see me rather, and hear me. Oh, perfect. Yay, awesome. I'll give everyone a few more minutes. It's only 1:56. Hi, Alana. This is going to get easier, and we're going to get smoother. It's just going to take a little time. I think I'm going to back up my screen so my forehead's not cut off. Now maybe I can see me. Yeah, there we go. That's better. Are y'all liking how we're getting hours for doing this virtually? It's pretty cool. Not the best method, but at least it's doable. I know, poor Taylor, you missed 2 weeks, honey. I'm glad you're here. You can get caught up. Haley, you're so cute. We have to make the best of it, right? It's weird because when I stand back here with my readers, it's blurry, but when I get up close, I can see your comments. So I'm going to rely on the teachers to do all the commenting. Yes, Erica, Alana got you. All of you are clicking in and such. This is awesome. Logging in. Let me see. We have 34 in attendance right now. I'm sure there more people will be coming along here. While you have a minute, first of all, tell me, everyone who's sort of waiting, can y'all read this from there, or do I need to pull the monitor closer? Because if it's too far away, I'm going to pull it closer. Hi, Julia. Is that a little better? Okay, can't read. Vicky, you can't read this right here? My print might need to be bigger, or I can just pull forward a little bit more. Is that getting better? I can read it. Please closer. Okay. Kim Tran, tell me if that's better. Y'all just have to deal with my head being chopped off and my regrowth. Kimberly, I need you to take care of my regrowth. Okay, good. Lynn says better. Okay, perfect. Okay, so we are 2 o'clock straight up, and we are going to go ahead and roll right into bacteria. So just so all of you know, it's almost impossible for us to really think that anybody can do 8 solid hours of actual teaching and you being able to focus, because we know that the attention span of an adult is really at about 13 minutes. We will take breaks, and I will get you through this. This chapter is pretty important. It is pretty thick. So it's going to be a little bit of monotony. Next week, I cannot wait to do bones and anatomy with you, going over the bones of the face, the muscles, the buccinator muscle, all those different muscles and bones of the face, the arms and the legs that y'all will be tested on, hands, fingers, all of those things. So another chapter that's kind of quiet and perfect for what TDLR is allowing us to do. TDLR will only allow us to do theory, so at least we're gonna, okay, somebody's saying it's a little bit blurry. Is my screen too close? Maybe that's better. Those of you who know me, I have to have my Topo Chico or my sparkling water, so I'm on point here with my drink. So bacteria, let's go ahead and start right now. Let's go ahead and write down these definitions. Those of you who are brand new, as I was saying, State Board, it requires that you know this chapter pretty much backwards and forwards, and I'm sure in our comment section, people who have taken the written exam can attest that when you take this examination, there's a lot of questions on bacteria, and then there's another test that has a lot of questions on relaxers, and then there's another test on wigs and such. So very important. This could help you pass your written exam, just to kind of reiterate the information. So the first thing I want you to write down is bacteria. Bacteria, you can just do some shorthand versions of your own type of notes. Not every single word has to be written down. This is just a common term that you will see. But bacteria is a one-celled microorganism in both plants and has both plant and animal characteristics. This is a really easy term, bacteria, one-celled microorganism. You need to also put down that this is also called a germ, or a microbe. State Board will call it a microbe on the test or a germ. So the definition for bacteria is germ or microbe, and they are one-celled. So on your test, if they were to say this is a two-celled, that would be an incorrect answer. It is a one-celled microorganism, also known as a germ or a microbe. Okay? Hopefully I'm not going too fast. And so therefore, State Board's next question is bacteriology. This is the study of bacteria. Study of bacteria. Brooke, if you cannot, somebody type if Brooke cannot hear, then she can just write it down as I show it on the screen. Bacteriology, this is this is the science that deals with the study of bacteria. That's going to be a nice, easy one for you. So if you look at the two different ones at State Board, this could get confusing. Bacteriology is a science that deals with the study of microorganisms. And microbiology is the science that deals with microorganisms. So bacteriology, the science that deals with microorganisms, the study of microorganisms. And then microbiology, the science, this word right here, the science versus the study of microorganisms. I'll leave that there another minute for y'all. So at State Board, you can see where that would be kind of confusing for some people, and you might answer it incorrectly. If you're curious, you don't need to write this, but this is just a picture of a bacteria cell. I'll back up and you can tell me if you can see it better. Backing up any better? Okay, so microbe, again, all I'm doing is reiterating that a microbe is called a germ and it produces bacteria. And again, they are not two-celled, but they are one-celled. One cell. So not a two-celled bacteria. So we know that germs live everywhere. Type for me some areas where germs might live. I'd like to see maybe 5 comments. Where do we see backing up makes it worse? Okay, where do we find bacteria? We find bacteria where? Okay, good. Toilet, the skin, the hands, trash. How about in the air? Yes, the air. Okay. 2 types of bacteria. So write down your paper, 2 types of bacteria. And I'm going to hold it up for you. Pathogenic. All you need to write on your paper, if you just want a shorthand, is harmful. Pathogenic means harmful bacteria. Non-pathogenic, harmless. Yeah, our bed, everywhere, in the bathroom. So bacteria is everywhere, and it's our job to put it in to trap that bacteria and put a spore around it. And those are our disinfectants and such, and we're going to get to that. So pathogenic, they are harmful. Non-pathogenic, they are helpful. Is it too blurry or anything? So the pathogenic will cause disease. Non-pathogenic will not cause disease. Is this too close? The growth of bacteria. I'm going to give y'all a second to be able to see it. Okay, Emily says it's perfect. So growth of bacteria. It's important to keep areas clean, dry, unfavorable for its growth. So you might want to just write on bacteria's growth that we want it to be in an unfavorable area. You might want to note that the second bullet, bacteria will grow best in damp, dark, dirty places. And that bacteria has 2 growth cycles. Active and inactive. That's our growth of bacteria. So let's go through that one more time. Bacteria are also called, start memorizing in your head. Germs are microbes. They are one-celled. Microbiology, science that deals with microorganisms and the effects. Bacteriology, the science that deals with the study of the microorganism. Those are 2 different terms. You'll need to know them and memorize them for your state board, because those multiple choice questions will get you. And this is just an image of bacteria to kind of give you an idea of what this little character looks like on our surfaces. Again, microbes are germs. They are disease producing, and they again are one-celled. They are one-celled. Pathogenic, harmful, cause disease. Non-pathogenic, helpful, do not cause disease. growth, active and inactive. Now let's talk about active and inactive a little more. Okay, at State Board, you need to know on your written material. I'm going to get closer, but active is also called vegetative. So you need to write down active right here is also vegetative. And inactive is spore forming. That's on this side, sorry. I have the mirror reflection going. So active is vegetative. Inactive is spore forming. Those are the same terms. Kind of like oil gland is the same thing as sebaceous gland. And that sudoriferous glands are the same thing as a sweat gland. Kind of like two names for everything that they like to do in our industry and that we have to memorize. So active is vegetative. Inactive is spore forming. So during the active phase of bacteria, they are vegging out. They're sitting on the sofa, growing, gaining weight, kind of like we sit around and we eat too much on the sofa. We grow, we expand. Okay? Can y'all see that? We're in our dark living room watching a movie, eating chips and queso, getting sufficient food. And then we're dividing that vegetative state or that active state, and we're sharing that popcorn and those Slurpees and everything in a dark movie house. We're growing and being very active and vegetative. Okay? Then when we come over here to our inactive spore forming stage, we're gonna clean up our area. The lights are gonna go on. It could be killed by sunlight, disinfectants, and it can be resistant to the bacteria. So these spores right here, they're going to form like a waxy coating on the outside of it and protect it. And then when those conditions become again dark, warm, dirty, and need to be cleaned again, this bacteria spreads again and goes out, and then it becomes spore forming, and it shuts it down for a little while, and we have this protective covering around us. Okay, so we have pathogenic and non-pathogenic types of bacteria, one that's harmful and one that's harmless. We have the active stage, which is known as the, type it. And then we have the vegetative stage, which is known as active and vegetative, and inactive, spore forming. So when they're inactive, they have a spore that's protecting them. When they're active, things can come around and get them and make them multiply. The division of these of the cells dividing, there are two terms, and we have a new one. Hopefully y'all can see it. This division is called mitosis, but the new one is, whoops. Oh, let me make sure I spell that right. Yeah. It's pronounced fission. Yeah, I spelled it right. Binary fission, also known as mitosis. This is the division of cells. Binary fission, mitosis, means the same word, For those of you who don't realize, State Board likes to call things two different things. It's a pain. Okay, so mitosis and binary fission. This is a division. I'll leave that up there. I have an image here. Well, thought I had it. Oh, maybe it's right here. Hey, Lauren, go to the printer. I may have oh, here it is. Never mind. This is the next picture I need y'all to know about. There is a thing called cilia and a thing called flagella on the bacteria. Both of these allow bacteria to move about in liquids, not just cilia. I think the textbook has said cilia, and they've also said, some textbooks say flagella. So we need to kind of know both, cilia and flagella. And these are hair-like, whip-like structures that allow bacteria to move about. Okay, good, Amber. I'm glad the textbooks refer to both now. So you need to know that cilia and flagella are both, you may see both terms on the state multiple choice exam. And these are the hair-like structures that allow the motility of bacteria to move about. Hopefully I can see the two words, cilia and flagella. And hopefully I'm not going too fast. So at what point, so tell me, when bacteria coats themselves with a waxy substance around the bacteria that allows them to be protected, is that during the spore forming, or is that during the active or spore forming? So that would be sort of a question that they're asking. So that's going to be the spore forming inactive stage, is when that waxy coating is put on, is wrapped around that bacteria, because it's got a nice clean environment. Okay, what are the two divisions of two words for the division of bacteria? One is mitosis, and what is the other? Binary fission. Good, Lauren. Binary fission is another term for mitosis. Uh-huh. I know, isn't that weird? Okay, our next word, microorganisms. These can be plant or animal celled. So microorganisms. So bacteria, it's basically saying germs and bacteria come in the form of animal or plant. Okay, we have a new word. Infectious. Communicable by infection from one person to another. from one body part to another. It's a lot of terminology in this chapter. We'll do the bones and anatomy, and I'll be sending y'all some handouts you can print over the weekend for that. But this is a lot of terminology on this one. Infectious, communicable from one person to another. So let's talk about some samples of a bacteria infection. Estheticians, when you see pus from a pustule or a papule, is that an infection? Pus is an indication of infection. So at State Board, pus from a pimple would be called a local infection. So I'm going to write that down because I know it's a State Board question. Pus is example of local infection. State Board, right there. Even for my hairstylists and nail technicians, that is not just for estheticians, that's for everyone. That's something you're going to see. Can y'all see the board okay? Maybe I need to write darker. I think I'm okay right this second, but if they tell me, then I will. So if we, let me go back to here. Okay. What's another example of a local infection if State Board were to say a pimple? A pimple is an example, but another one that they classically like to put on the exam is a boil. So a boil and a pimple are both examples of local infections that you will see on the test. So it would be any lesion. Whoops, lesion. S. It would be any lesion on the skin that could be susceptible to bacteria entering it and causing it to create pus. Pus is a combination of three things: white blood cells, dead skin cells, is that showing up? And bacteria. White blood cells, dead skin cells, and bacteria. That creates pus, which begins the onset of the infection. Okay, Marina's saying something about no, but I'm not sure. Okay, for the time being, since we happen to be talking about boils, I'm going to throw in a term real quick that you may see on your state exam. There's two types of boils. A furuncle is the technical term for the small one. And then the large one is a carbuncle. Much larger abscess. So our boils, if we just leave them alone, we sort of leave them alone, these little furuncles that are infected, just don't mess with them and don't pop them. They'll just go away. The infection should take care of it with some heated compresses. But the carbuncles, you may need to go in and see your dermatologist or physician. They get a pretty large abscess. There's some toxins that are in there. So again, pus is a combination of our white blood cells, the dead skin cells, and bacteria. So if we keep our skin clean, we can prevent this bacteria and get it into that spore-forming state. Oopsie. Maybe I should hang these on the wall with a nail. Okay. All right, our next thing, a toxin. So go ahead and write this down. Hopefully y'all can see it. It's any various poisonous substance produced by some microorganisms. Oh, Lauren, I see you said cyst. Yeah, a cyst can get large. A cyst can be much larger, but typically a cyst has a covering over it, and it's under the skin. And some types of cysts actually have to be surgically cut out. Sterling, you'll just have to know the schedule. We need to just send you the schedule so you'll know when we're on live. Sorry about that. It's blurry. Okay, let me get closer. Is that better? Okay. On skin diseases and disorders, we'll be going through those different types of cysts. A cyst is also called a wen for the estheticians, a W-E-N. It's also known as a steatoma. Fun stuff. Okay, the next one is parasite. It's a vegetable or animal organism that lives on or in another organism and draws its nourishment from that organism. Ugh. Well, I'll show y'all a couple of those in a second. A vegetable or animal organism that lives on or in another organism and draws its nourishment from that organism. A yucky parasite. Yeah, Vicky. Ooh. So I'm going to show you the first one. It's important that you know that fungus, a sample of fungus is a vegetable parasite. So this is a sample of vegetable. Some of you may be wondering, how do I know if it's fungus? Sometimes our nail polish lacquers, sometimes they'll stain the toenail itself, and you can get a little buffer or an emery board and etch the top of the nail plate itself. And if it goes back to a white color and it's not still yellow, then you just have some staining of the nail. Okay. So the fungus there will penetrate down into those many layers of the nail, which it looks so tiny and thin, but it's not. It's composed of many layers. And so if you can etch that off, then you know the client does not have fungus. It's simply a staining of the nail. So keep in mind, that fungus is a vegetable parasite. So if you were to write the word ringworm down, if you're paying attention, I'd like for you to write down, type to me. How many of you believe that the ringworm is an animal or a vegetable parasite? I'm going to give y'all a few minutes to ponder that one. You can even cheat and Google because you're at home and I don't know what you're really doing. Ooh, we have some, this is going to be a question at State Board. Ooh, I see a lot of wrong answers. So this little word right here makes this tricky. It is not a worm. It is vegetable. State Board question. So make sure that you get it right. It is a vegetable. Fungi. Well, so if we learned anything today, we're all going to get that question right. So it is a vegetable. That will be a State Board question, I promise you, for all of you. Especially with the corona going around, they're going to want to make sure that y'all are getting that. Okay, so ringworm is fungus. Let's also go ahead while we're here right now and put that fungus has a technical term. Nail students and hair students alike, you'll see this quite frequently on your test. It's called tinea. Tinea is the technical term for fungus. Tinea. So like nails, tinea pedis would be ringworm of the toenails, like the image you saw. Tinea unguium, you'll hear that. Tinea favosa, you hear all kinds of things, but tinea is the term for fungus. So is tinea vegetable or is tinea animal? It's vegetable. So there is no animal. There's no worm growing under the toenail. Sorry, I know that was a little too much. Okay. These, my friends, my lovely students, these are animal parasites. So you could write down your paper, animal parasites would be fleas, ticks, and mites. Oh, Zuli, I saw your question just now. It's perfect. Perfect timing. So we said that these types of parasites, they draw on each other. So how does a mite and a tick, it's invading us. It's drawing on the nourishment of our body when it clings to us. Our poor doggies with the flea infestations in the summer. People who like to camp, the ticks are, I had a dear friend. We thought that their daughter had a tumor down in her ear canal. They gave her antibiotics after antibiotics. They were going to go in and remove the tumor. When they did the surgery, they realized that it was a tick that was down deep in her ear canal. Yes, mosquito, head lice, exactly. So these are all animals. So our vegetable is the fungus and the fungi that's growing outside, like mold and stuff. My poor friend, we prayed so hard that that would not be, and that tick down in her ear had been there for a very long time and was growing and was huge. Yes, bed bugs as well. So we want to make these conditions unfavorable for these guys as well. So we can help use pesticides and stuff in our yard to, well, we don't want to use the harmful stuff for the environment, but We want to make sure that our bed linens and stuff are clean to avoid scabies. Um, a mite, you need to know for sake board that an itch mite is also called a scabie or scabies, okay? Scabies and mites are the same thing, okay? Sometime when you go to the beaches, they say, I don't know if it's kind of an old wives' tale, but they say that the oceans bring in and the moon brings in certain types of itch mites into the sand different times of the year. And my husband Randy had that for almost 10 days after going to the beach during our honeymoon. And unfortunately, he had to put this cream on him. We had to get home as quick as possible and put this cream from head to toe to smother these. Oh, some of the people who maybe live in Mexico would know what the term for those types of animals are, but it was a parasite that got under his skin. So yes, lice is an animal parasite. I don't know about Lyme disease. I don't know a whole lot about Lyme disease. Um, I'm assuming that is vegetable. That's a good research question. So this would be scabies, common skin infection that causes small itchy bumps and blisters due to tiny little mites that burrow into the top layer of the human skin to lay their eggs. Okay. Looks like they've been infecting people for 2,500 years. Wow. That's our scabies. Severe itching and yuckiness. Acarido. Oh, Spanish word for mite. Yes, that's tiny. Yes, ticks transmit it. You're right. I think Justin Bieber has the Lyme disease that he's battling. So this is our scabies and our itch mites, and these creams need to be obtained from your dermatologist to slow down and kill these guys. Okay, it is 2:38. I will see y'all back at 2:50. I'm going to put it on mute. We're going to take a break. Hope y'all get this. Oh, let me see what Jessica says. You can also get lice from working yep, they live in the dirt. Scabies builds condos in between your fingers. Ooh, yes. Oh, and chiggers, yes. So 2:50, we will resume, okay? I'm going to put it on mute, but I'm still here. Okay, so our next term is going to be the study of viruses and viral diseases. So right now we have a lot of healthcare professionals that are out there, and they are studying this day in and day out on this nasty virus, virology, the study of viruses and viral diseases. I'll give y'all a minute. I know some people are still logging back in. So back in. So just keep in mind right here, I'm going to highlight this word so that you understand that this is the study of it. Like bacteriology, the study of bacteriology. This is the study of viruses and viral diseases. Okay. Looks like people are logging in. Okay. Virus. This is the invasion of the cell. So you might want to shorten this here, but the virus is different from biology in that we are right here, it lives only by penetrating the cell and becoming part of it. So it invades the cell. So we know that with the coronavirus right now, people are trying to create a vaccine. So we know that vaccines can help us combat getting viruses, such as the measles. Someone had made a statement that you could take a picture of this, picture of your screen, and then you would have this definition. If you're one that wants the entire definition, then you can just jot it down. Virus, tiny germs. And remember, what's another term for a tiny germ, or a germ rather? It's microbe. And what's another layman's term for microbe, or a more technical term, is bacteria. Bacteria, microbe, germ. They all mean the same. So these are tiny germs that cause illness. Hopefully y'all can see that. They are communicable. There's one word that tells us what does communicable mean. It's basically one word. It spreads. I don't know about y'all, but when I get a cold for me, how long does a cold last for some of you? Cold lasts for me about 7 days, and you're miserable. You have lack of energy because your body's been invaded. You're sleepy, you're tired, you don't want to do much, stuffy. You just don't quite feel like having a good time, okay? Oh, someone puts weeks. Yeah, it's spreadable. And it's just, for me, yeah, Connor, it's about a week. And I'm miserable. Some people go ahead and go to the doctor and they start to feel a little bit better. Another communicable one, ringworm. We talked about ringworm. So communicable ones would be Coals, ringworm, I think I'm going to go over here. Let's list another one that we don't always think about, but several of you have gotten, and you've told me that you can't come to school for a couple of days. Pink eye. So these are communicable viruses that go in and they invade. So we're not going to be able to take an antibiotic for it because it's a virus. It's got to run its course. So sometimes we think we have allergies and we want a Z-Pack real good, but it's maybe not allergies. And the doctor won't give you the Z-Pack because, you know, oh yeah, chicken pox, yep, 7 days. Mono, there you go. Ooh, mono's a toughie. Okay, so what are we going to avoid? So if we have a communicable virus in the salon, we want to keep our tissues, dirty tissues, away from other people. Avoid sneezing, coughing on surfaces. We want to stay home until this antibiotic right here can treat this pink eye and not spread it. We want to make sure that surfaces and such are nice and clean, and that we're just not sharing all of these things. Also, another one too are warts. Warts are communicable. They do spread. It is a form of a virus. Another one that we need to list is HIV. Communicable. It does spread. So we are hoping that our immune system is strong enough to combat all of these little viruses that are around us constantly. So the immune system, so we need good immunity. We need a good immune system. So, and the best way for us to have a good immune system is rest, get our rest, eat obey the food pyramid, the food plate, as they call it now. I think the pyramid is obsolete and they call it a plate now. Eat well, take our vitamins, drink lots of water, get lots of rest, and take care of ourselves, and live in a clean environment and eat well and avoid some of the dangerous things. Don't consume so many of the yucky foods that are fatty and such. Okay, I want to see if there's anything here. Just keep in mind that viruses, that they can attack your cells in your body, such as your liver, your respiratory system. Okay, so we do want to make sure that we want to avoid using cups and drinking out of cups from other people. We want to make sure we cover our cough and when we sneeze, and our nose and the discharge that comes from that, and any tissues and stuff, get rid of those in the trash can. Another virus that I want to mention on here is flu. Flu, is that a digestive virus? Yes, it is. There's also respiratory viruses, and that's your colds. Your colds are respiratory. Your flu is digestive. Okay, I don't think you'll see that on the state board, but I just thought it was noteworthy. Won't necessarily be a test. Okay. If y'all are really good, we'll stop early, since y'all have been taking so many notes and doing good. I'll still give you credit. Okay. I think this wall is not lined very well. Okay. There are 4 different types of diseases. Let's write these down. We have occupational, parasitic, huh?
That's right.
Oh, I know. My handwriting is bad. Pathogenic and systemic. So when we go to the doctor, they might use one of these types of words, and it scares us because we're like, oh my gosh, what does that mean? So an occupational, can anybody tell me what an occupational disease would be caused from? Well, think about the word occupation. Prolonged what? Exposure. Prolonged exposure to the from something in the work environment. Prolonged exposure to something in the work environment. I'm just going to put it like that, and hopefully y'all are getting that. Parasitic, a parasite. Parasitic in this form, this is going to be your what? This is going to be your animal. This is your lice and mites. Those are two examples, lice and mites. Just so you know, on lice, when it's only one, it's louse. Okay. Okay, our pathogenic. This one comes from molds and fungi. So this would be your ringworm. That'd be your example of your ringworm. And it's vegetable, and that's why it's a mold or a fungi. I hope y'all can read it. Looks kind of blurry. And then we have systemic, and this is through the bloodstream and lymph. And lymphatic system. We definitely don't want any of these, but I will tell you what, this one right here is scary. And then being exposed to something for too long that might be disease causing. At least with here, we can kill the lice with the rid, and the pathogenic, we can get antibiotic for the fungi and the ringworm. These are much more difficult for just your typical person with me with my level of education expertise. I don't know much about those, but so occupational, parasitic, pathogenic, and systemic. A lot of times people think that a wart is not a callus, but a corn. A wart and a corn are two different things. So a wart versus a corn, they're just two completely different things. These are viruses. Don't put corn pads from the pressure on your foot from the callus that's formed here. You want to make sure that you are getting to a dermatologist to treat the wart. Sometimes these warts will have a covering over them, and it sort of gets thickened, I guess you could say. So just don't. Make sure that you're not trying to diagnose someone if you're a nail technician and telling them that it's a corn when it's really a wart or plantar's warts. Okay. Wear your shoes, your flip-flops and such in your showers and in community places and such, out of swimming pools and such. Okay. All right. Types of bacteria. Oh, I'm sorry, pathogenic bacteria. The first one, This is cocci. Yes, Amber, you're right. Yes, and picking at them. Brenna is so true, so correct in saying I was trying to treat the warts on the bottom of Randy's foot with my fingernail, thinking I could and I contracted the warts all on the top of my thumb. So him and I both we were both going to the dermatologist together to treat his bottom of his foot and my two thumbs because I was using some metal tools to try. Anyway, so yes, Brenna, you're right. It can spread. So don't pick at them. Let the dermatologist do it. Okay. So, cocci, what you need to know for state board is that they are round shape and they can appear singly or in groups. So they are round. You're going to have to somehow remember, maybe the O in cocci will help you remember that they're round. Okay. So cocci are round shape. Then we have some groups of them. Okay. The groups of them. What you need to know on this one, I'm going to underline it. Staphylococci, pus forming in clusters. That's what you need to know for that. Pus forming and in clusters. Okay. I've underlined the next part. Streptococci, pus forming. They cause things like strep throat. Sarah, you're funny. Oh, colloidal silver. Yeah, I've heard of that for your warts. I've heard of that. Good one. Oh, what's a corn? Hey Siri. Definition of corn. Oh wait, he's going to give me a corn on the cob. Oh, hold on. Corn on bottom of foot. It's a small patch of thickened dead skin with a central core. It's a plantar callus on the bottom of the foot. So it's like hardened, overgrowth, hypertrophic skin that is, yes, due to friction. Hardened skin due to friction, exactly, like a callus. But on the bottom of the foot, it's very painful, and you can think that it might be warts or you might think it's a corn and it's really a wart, and then you start picking at it, and then you transfer it the way I did. Okay, all right. So we're at streptococci. Now diplococci, pneumonia. That's what you need to remember. Just put on your paper, diplococci causes pneumonia. So if someone is hospitalized for pneumonia, it's due to the cocci bacteria. Yes, Uli, not a wart. Yeah, bone pressure, exactly. Maybe the way the foot is hitting the ground surface over time. It's not fun. So what you need to know is the picture I'm going to show you for state board. That cocci, you can draw this if you want, or you can just write it down. Cocci is round shape. Bacilli, that is Bacilli. And spirilla, this one right here is round, cocci. Rod, R-O-D, rod shape. So you need to know bacilli is rod shape for your state board. And then spirilla is a spiral shape. So cocci is spherical, causes pneumonia. Bacilli is rod, E. coli. I don't know if E. coli is one L or two. It's one. E. coli. And then spirilla, please know for your state board, I promise you, you'll see this one. Syphilis. I thought syphilis was spelled with a Y. This marker is a good marker, but I can't erase.
It is spelled with a Y.
I thought so. Syphilis. You need to know this one for state board right here.
That's just one of the diseases it causes?
Yes, and I do know they asked that one on the board on almost everyone's exam. Oh yeah, Amber says for bacilli you could also think a bar. A bar, yes, or a rod shape. Very good. So y'all need to know that for board. Okay. If y'all are curious, cocci also causes meningitis. So you've heard of people getting that. Horrible to get over. So pneumonia, meningitis, and whenever you get, whenever you or someone you love has gotten food poisoning, that is from the cocci virus too. What is the shape of spirilla? Spiral or spherical? One of the two. Remember, they may say spherical.
That means the same thing as spiral?
Yep. Spherical or spiral. And I hope I spelled spherical correct. I don't know. Okay, so right now I'm just going to recap with y'all over what we've gone over. Just hang tight with me. Okay, bacteria, one-celled microorganism, also known as a germ or a microbe. Microbiology, science that deals with microorganisms. Some of y'all might know a microbiologist out there. Wouldn't that be cool to know that we know somebody? Bacteriology, science that deals with the study of microorganism. That's what all these wonderful people and healthcare professionals are doing for us right now as we speak. That's what our bacteria looks like. That's a bacteria cell right there. It's got its own cytoplasm and cell wall, etc. Microbes and germs. Again, this is just reiterating that it's a germ. That is a one-celled organism. Pathogenic. Remember, these are harmful. That's all you need to remember for your state board. Pathogenic, harmful. How can we remember that? Non-pathogenic, not harmful. Pathogenic, harmful. Non-pathogenic, harmless. No problem, I guess we could say. The growth of bacteria. There's 2 stages of growth. One is going to be favorable conditions when it's dark, dirty, wet, moist. An athletic bag that's stuffed with football clothing that comes home. That'd be my son. And I wipe it out with a Clorox wipe, his backpack, his lunch container. I wipe out the lunch container with a Clorox wet wipe, a little wet wipe, or at least something, or clean it with hot soapy warm water from the day. So those areas are favorable for bacteria. So that's an active stage when they're growing. That active stage we talked about in those dark climates, is it called vegetative or spore forming? Oh, good, Laura. Perfect. So we know that the active stage is called what? Vegetative. It's vegging out, it's active, it's growing. 2 stages, active, vegetative, inactive, spore forming, forming that waxy coating around it. And during that time, guys, nothing can hurt that bacteria when it has that spore around it. It's not harmed by heat or cold or any disinfectant. We have the 2 little whip-like motions that help our bacteria, or help the bacteria rather, help the bacteria move about in liquids. They are called hair-like structures. And you want to write down too, go ahead and write down that they have a whip-like motion. I do know that's a term at State Board. Whip-like motion. That helps them propel. Jessica Brooker, can you let everybody know that you took your written and all these questions are probably on there? And some of you, the rest of y'all too, for that matter, who have taken it. So what is that division called when it divides into daughter cells? The daughter cells division is called mitosis, or binary what? Fusion. Fission, sorry. Not fusion, fission. My bad, that's a new one. That's just entered the textbook arena. It's kind of new for me. Okay, we've gone through that. Microorganisms, plant and animal cell. That's nothing really real important. Infectious, when it's a communicable infection that spreads from one person to another. We talked about pus, and we talked about how pus is a sign of infection from a combination of dead skin cells, white blood cells, and bacteria combined. So keeping our face clean and our body clean, and that's why they say to clean your wounds after you have a scrape and keep it clean and covered. Parasites, vegetable and animal, and they get their nourishment from drawing on its surface, or on each other rather. Fungus, vegetable parasite, tinea. Oh yeah, perfect, local infection. Yay, y'all are learning. We're not doing this till 5, no. I'm actually gonna let y'all off the hook a little earlier. I normally would go till 4, but y'all have been so good. And then we have our animal parasites, the fleas, the ticks, and the mites that get their nourishment. Remember, itch mites is called scabies for your state board. Oh, I already did that one. On fungus, can it spread on our nail tools and the files? Absolutely. You need to be very careful. Do not be spreading this fungus from one client to another. It's chronic. Scabies. Those mites burrow into the skin. They lay their eggs under the layer of the skin, causing terrible itching and scratching because they're nourishing themselves on the skin. Virology, study of viruses. I think y'all got this. A virus, infectious agent that lives only by penetrating the cell. These are some of my notes. The communicable types of viruses, ringworm, pink eye, common cold. Then we have our different diseases. We have the occupational disease where we're getting it from our work environment. Then we have the parasitic one where it's our animals such as itch mites and lice. The pathogenic, which is fungus, parasites. And the systemic, which is through the bloodstream and the lymphatic system. Then we have the types of bacteria. We're ending with the cocci. Hold on, I'm about to drop all these papers. Cocces are round shaped that appear singly or in groups. Make sure you know that, singly or in groups. Staphylococci, pus forming in clusters. I think y'all got that one earlier. Streptococci, again, pus forming that causes strep throat. That's pretty easy to remember right there. Diplococci, causing pneumonia, but they're still in a round cluster or pairs. I don't think diplococci is going to be on your board, but it's just good for you to know. And then finally, ending with these. Round is cocci, rod is bacilli, spherical or sphere is spirilla. Okay, if you can, either write this down or take a picture of it. What I would like to do is for all of you to put this in your system, and then tomorrow I want to have y'all pick out a couple of things that you learned. This is just one thing that is kind of interesting. This is our strawberries. And so many times we see strawberries in our refrigerator and they will begin to mold and they sit next to each other. And the very, very importance of making sure that we wash our vegetables really good. When you come home, I know avocados can actually, a knife can transfer, when you cut an avocado in half, it can actually transfer the bacteria from the outside of it by cutting it through the middle. So important to wash the outside of your avocados real good, your lemons, your limes. We know that limes in the bar service industry, that those can be the most, they can harbor the most bacteria because they have lots of wait staff that are grabbing the lemons without gloves and putting them on glasses and stuff, and margaritas or on food plates for decorative purposes, or salmon with the lemon or calamari or something like that. So this is a really good little thing, and I want y'all to look it up and write down one or two things that you found from the foodborne outbreak. And this is just about strawberries. I learned a lot myself. So do that. I'm going to leave this on and assume that you will look this up for a few minutes. Spend 10 minutes. It's a quick little article. Spend like 10 minutes. And, oh, Erica knows 4 biologists. Wow, that's cool. And look that up. I'm going to keep y'all on the time clock and give y'all an opportunity to just look that up. When Katie resumes today, Katie, what time are you resuming? I forget, 5 to 6 o'clock, I think. It's just going to be a simple little review. We have a lot more to go on in this chapter, but I went through it faster than I thought I would today. And I think that you all have had enough of this, especially through the news and stuff. That probably should not have gone through this chapter yet, but might as well get it over with. We will, if you have your TDLR rule book, we'll be going through a few things like this. Remember, brand new people, you'll get this book, and there's going to be some information. The people who've taken their state board, they will tell you, they will test some questions out of this book, and they'll tell you that. Let's see, I can't see it. Can someone write what it is? Oh, yes, Lauren, it's HTTP colon // Let me see if she's still on here. Don't worry about the book in your station. We'll just talk about it. Hopefully you'll learn something. I know it's not maybe the most fun, but we're making progress, and getting y'all licensed is what the goal is here. Yes, we can talk more about those margaritas, Vicki. HTTP colon / F as in Frank, S as in Sam, the letter I, dot, Colo State for Colorado State, COLOSTATE.edu / strawberries / It's an interesting little read. I do want to tell y'all I had I had a student who was 30 years old and was at the beauty school, and she had eaten some vegetables and had not washed them properly. And some people do get this rare occurrence, and it caused her to not be able to ever eat anything again, not even marshmallows and stuff. And she has to be fed through her stomach every day. And she worked with us at the school for a long time. And it's very sad. And they discovered that washing the vegetables was the primary reason. She's had lots of surgeries to remove parts of her stomach and such. So really, really devastating. So keeping our vegetables clean, especially during this time, going to the grocery store and such, is important. Just fill up your basin with some water and wash them down real good, and just let them soak for a little bit at a minimum, and that can help you. Just write down the things, Hannah, that you learned from this article, and we'll talk about those tomorrow. Y'all are going to resume at 5 o'clock for 1 hour with Katie, just to recap, and then we'll be done for the day. And I'm going to leave y'all on live chat and live streaming, just so I can make sure I've got that Alana has plenty of time to see that you're getting your clocked hours. I love y'all too. I'm sorry we have to do business this way, but we're going to make it. Okay, I am going to mute it now unless y'all have any questions. I'm just going to check it right here. Maybe I can put, Lauren, read that to me, and I'm going to post that link.
HTTP.
Okay, HTTP.
Colon /
FSI.
FSI.colostate.edu / strawberries /
Maybe that'll help. Hopefully some of the memorization, going through it kind of slow. It'll be boring for some of you, and for some of you, maybe it's a new thing. But anyway, we're making it, guys. We're making it. Everybody stay well, and Jeremy will be seeing you in the morning at 10 o'clock, 10 to 11. No, yeah, 10 to 11. And, oh, the link is not working. Lauren, try the link on your end. My daughter's going to try it. No more comment necessary.
It's working.
Okay, it should be working. But just look over it. All you'd have to do, those of you who don't like to read a whole lot, not much of a reader, you'll see some highlighted stuff where it's really important. The farmers who do these strawberry planting, and the soil and the different stuff, and how easily we can get sick from E. coli just from strawberries. So just kind of read that. I'm going to put it on mute now and say goodnight to y'all. And y'all have one more little check-in with Katie. It'll just be one more little hour. And we will, I will see y'all again at 2 o'clock tomorrow. We'll do a little more bacteriology.